new transport bill to push for upgrade in PMV sector. Womenfolk speak of fear amidst violence. And wet season wreaking havoc with roads and transport.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Sunday's news. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has announced steps for security preparedness and planning for APEC 2018. As part of this, the Prime Minister said the APEC Papua New Guinea Joint Security Task Force will increase planning for the APEC year under the direction of the Commissioner for Police as the task force commander. Prime Minister O'Neill said one of the most pressing issues is to enhance border security through the high-level workshop that is expected to be held in the coming weeks. The border security workshop will include customs, immigration, fisheries, police, defence, justice, foreign affairs and members of the APEC PNG 2018 Joint Security Task Force. Transport Minister Malakai Tabar says the new transport bill will push for an upgrade in the country's PMV sector. Minister Tabar said Parliament is expected to pass this bill this month and all PMV operators must abide by the new legislation. Tabar made this statement when announcing the dates for the 10th APEC Ministers' Meet in Port Moresby recently.
Among the bills to be presented on the floor of Parliament this year is the PMV bill. The Transport Minister says this bill is to improve the current status and output of public transport around the country.
Hopefully we should be able to pass all of those new reviewed areas through Parliament to make sure we can affect positively our public transport system in Papua New Guinea.
Minister Tabar said current legislations have loopholes and the government would want to see an elevation of type of PMV services operators can provide. Mosby South MP Justin Chachenko believes the bills will be supported and passed.
Ensure that the PMV owners and the taxi owners get their act cleaned up and show a bit more professionalism in the way that they conduct themselves and their business.
Like many other towns and cities in the country, 70% of Port Moresby's working population depend on public transport. But some residents believe this service should be provided by the government or city authorities.
Law providing this law, constitutional right of citizens, freedom of movement, only must transportation services must provide the city.
Minister Tabar will be presenting the bills when Parliament resumes at the end of this month for the first 2017 sitting. Jagla Power Jr. National EMTV News.
Transport Minister Malakai Tabar says the upcoming 10th APEC Transport Ministerial Meet will find solutions to cut back the current high transport costs in the country. Minister Tabar says rural communities across the country still struggle to connect with urban centres due to high costs and poor infrastructure. He says this is a challenge the government plans to address.
Transportation system will basically help rural people and producing farmers to move produce from where they are to where they consume, where they will be further processed. And for Papua New Guinea, we would like to educate, bring awareness, and improve our transportation system so that we try and reduce the losses that and related costs.
A young man was brutally murdered around the New Year period along the Kumusi River in the Kokoda LLG. According to a family member, the deceased, Samson Kai, aged 24, of Asisi village, was found some 70 kilometers away from where he was last seen on the 30th of December. His uncle, Kingston Evari, says when the body was retrieved, physical evidence showed the deceased had body parts cut off and his stomach slashed with a sharp object.
The knife was driven into the heart and wide open the belly. At the end of the day, he was thrown in that very big Kumusi River, flooded, and took another 70 kilometers to 80, right down to Open Mambara Aika, close by the border of Central Lorokaiva. And a place called Unguri, he was being retrieved of his body when they found out. And I want to be very thankful to the people of Ungiri and the Koropata. And they buried the body. As soon as the message was being sent up to my village, Asisi, they all went down and then got the body I want the police department, the hierarchies to know that there is law and order problem down at Kokoda, especially in my place. And we can't let that slide away or just forget, like, who cares? The people in hierarchies, they have to do all about this. Enough is enough for Oro province in particular, and also in my home province, Kokoda itself.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll have more local stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Yesterday, two Morabian groups, the Pigua and Bumatu, came together to end an 8-year war. Womenfolk told MTV News of how the violence had far-reaching effects for them and their families. They say they can now return to a life less fraught with fear and to start rebuilding their families from the ashes of violence. Harry Egimbari with this report.
Ceremonies can be times for partying or penance. Gathered here, two communities unite to stop an 8-year war of damage and despair. Women of the Bumatu and Pigua groups shared with MTV of how they were affected. Rode Matthew of the Pigua group of Labutale, Huengulf district, said they were most affected. His story is of fear and food shortage.
I mean, walk about me must go one time. 20 plan man or must walk about one time gun. Now, why?
The fight resulted from the brutal murder of a Pigua couple. Maurice and Raquel Lagaya were on their way to their gardens when men believed to be from the Bumatu ambushed them. Raquel was also raped. Maurice's family, who flew in from his home province of New Ireland, say forgiveness is the way forward. The effects of the incident were felt on both sides. Women from the Bumatu said life also became hard. But as leaders and their communities make a way forward, the question remains, will forgiveness last? Harry Egimbari, National MTV News, Leh.
The La Nina period or heavy rainfall in the Western Pacific has brought about severe damages to the environment. In the past few days, PNG has experienced flooding and landslips in the highlands and strong winds and sea surges observed in coastal areas. MTV spoke to several residents of 17 Mile outside Port Moresby about the environmental impacts.
The impacts of natural disasters felt in many areas in the country come about as a result of continuous rainfall. The La Nina period or extreme rainfall is expected to continue into the next few months. The Western Pacific, including Papua New Guinea, experienced severe flooding, landslide and strong winds with sea surges. For people living along 17 Mile outside of Port Moresby, the heavy downpour has flooded the Laloke River, thus greatly affecting the people's livelihood. MTV spoke to several residents today about the consequences they faced with this harsh climatic condition.
Garam belum sa bagrab samla time belum sa silip good rain sa kam nam sa bagram ibalo side lo jifla time lo rain em sa affect mi blalo side lo samla am sa school am sa lab sa side ndala kam begen lo chimbas tu em sa wara sa flood em sa affect mi blalo sa side na same time tu em garden belum bla plantis sa barrelo wara place no sample livestock na bodem sa barrelo wara place em wara sa flood sa kam sa affect mi sla tu Mindio sa rain come time feel em sa flood na bagrab na players sa playing sa sa play good em sa affecting leg ball na ban guro ba to still leg ball na boro samna rain no good ba time to play time sometimes all em good ba time to play
Saturday na Sunday weekdays em good la day time em kage em sa finish lo one la day na all salim all finish na again go singen na 2-3 round na bodol sa okay na sali na flat time em kage sa upside lo wara all no sa go sim na on man no sa go cross upside wara na come because flood em Wanda straight na lori serem go se mo gotem plaza go geta na karma film lo na all human being no pas mi basa all pikinini na kanu se all stablo go na wara go down na flarem go na wara no mol na mi da sa go kana crossina kanu se.
Residents have been cautioned to take heed of natural disasters that would come about. Last week, a massive landslide along the island's highway at the Simbu bypass has cut off delivery of services into islands provinces. Also, food gardens have been destroyed and lives were lost. Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says Cabinet will consider a comprehensive policy to strengthen the national road network with high attention provided to dealing with damage caused by current weather patterns. Prime Minister O'Neill also issued a stern warning to individuals who might seek to profit from road closures and cause public inconvenience. O'Neill said the national government is approaching this as an emergency case and will provide special intervention directed by Cabinet when it meets this week. The Prime Minister further warned that strict laws will be brought into force preventing people from obstructing access to national highways. Opposition leader Don Pollier says modernization must not amend customary values. Mr. Pollier said the respect for traditional values has lost its path in PNG communities. The opposition leader is now calling on community leaders to embrace traditional values.
The opposition leader says there is a total breakdown in keeping traditional values. He says before Christianity reached PNG shores, respect and other values existed.
We have them in us. Papua New Guinea was not a wicked nation before the Christianity came into this country.
Applauding modern growth and the development path PNG is on, Pollier wants values of life be embraced. He says the high crime rate and social issues affecting communities can be addressed if leaders are doing the right thing.
We were a just nation. We had people who had structures in the villages that are well organized. Traditional leadership and social structures were there. With respect to our people, we shared our common values.
Pollier said it is time people understand the concept of development and be responsible for their actions. He says change can be achieved if traditional leadership rules.
We need to continue that good trend. We must not be distracted by modernity. We must continue to hold fast those values of justice, of what is just and what is right.
Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
Overseas now, and as Malia and Sasha Obama get ready to move out of the White House, they are given advice from two other sisters who have walked their shoes. The girls are all part of the prestigious club of presidential daughters who grew up in the White House. CNN with more.
8 years ago, on a cold November day, we greeted you on the steps at the White House.
Barbara Bush on the Today Show sharing the new letter she and her sister Jenna Bush have written to the Obama girls. A lot has changed in the 8 years since the Bush twins first met Sasha and Malia. Back then, the Obama girls were just 7 and 10.
The four of us wandered the majestic halls of the house you had no choice but to move into. When you slid down the banister of the solarium, just as we had done as 8-year-olds and again as 20-year-olds chasing our youth, your joy and laughter were contagious.
In 8 years, you have done so much, seen so much. You stood at the gates of the Robben Island cell, where South Africa's Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for decades, your arms around your father.
The Bush twins had also penned a letter to Sasha and Malia back in 2009 titled Playing House in the White House. Then 27, Jenna and Barbara Bush offered this advice. Surround yourself with loyal friends. They'll protect and calm you. And join in on some of the fun and appreciate the history. And this, cherish your animals because sometimes you'll need the quiet comfort that only animals can provide. Their most important piece of advice years ago? Our dad, like yours, is a man of great integrity and love. Remember who your dad really is.
It's really an exclusive club among presidential children, and they do keep in touch. There's an empathy there because they've all been through it, and no one knows what that's like to be in that kind of public spotlight when you're so young.
In their new letter, Jenna and Barbara Bush told Sasha and Malia how they watched them grow into impressive young women with grace and ease. They remarked how they were glad the Obama girls had each other, just as the Bush twins did. Their letter encouraged the Obama girls to hold on to the memories, but also emboldened them to chart their own path.
Explore your passions, learn who you are, make mistakes. You're allowed to. Continue to surround yourself with loyal friends who know you, adore you, and will fiercely protect you.
Take all that you have seen, the people you have met, the lessons you have learned, and let those help guide you in making positive change.
In closing, a sense of solidarity.
You have lived through the unbelievable pressure of the White House. You have listened to harsh criticism of your parents by people who have never even met them.
You stood by as your precious parents were reduced to headlines. Your parents who put you first and not only showed you, but gave you the world.
As always, they will be rooting for you as you begin this next chapter.
And so will we.
You're with National MTV News. Trukai Sports is next. We'll have the details after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. While the season proper for most sporting codes in the nation's capital are yet to kick off, suburbs in the city continue to run sporting activities on the weekends. An example of the willingness to involve youth in sports as a means of socialization and unity. In Gerahu, the Stage 2 competition continues to thrive with little or no support from local leaders.
In this part of the city, young people have taken initiatives to run competitions that will see through the 2016 and 2017 season. For months, this particular group has run various sporting activities that involve mainly youths in Gerahu suburb. The competition is initiated and supported by participating teams who are willing to see the competition run solely on team registration. So far, the event has attracted 20 registered teams from Gerahu Stage 2 alone, participating in rugby and women in volleyball.
Competition initiative youths Gerahu Stage 2 yet. Previously, we got competition tamlo, the main field of tamlo. Due to some misunderstanding, so Stage 2 break out. So initiative Stage 2 so competition. I think around 10 now. Since October. Last October, we started in the previous New Year, League. So, we starting.
Match coordinators Yawa Une and Peter Raruka has been coordinating the games. However, both men expressed the need of support from local leaders.
Especially politicians, now business houses, one play lulu so now we play appeal all people leaders all business houses is up close to inside Gerahu. Igu play game support keep him this competition go strong. Because me play yet now, me play making me come in. So far, me play making come up. And you can look and say got two nice for goal post. Sana play me play got all lines of field. All boys come on them all nice for color uniform. But me play need him support so long. All you plus leaders me play come inside. Give him this support. Me play so that by game go strong so that all youths can look and say you me got a leader stop where you can look you me. You know so you me play nothing. You me got some like man or semi stop so. Me ask him, said, you leader man or you business houses, you willing to come inside and help me? You 100% come to us.
Similar to Gerahu, Gordon's is another part of the city that also runs similar competition. Here at Dunagi Oval, it's a normal sight for drivers and pedestrians going to and from Gordon's to catch a glimpse of teams rubbing shoulders on the hard turf. And just when you think you've seen enough of rugby league, just a few kilometers drive out of the city to 9 Mile and yet another sight of kids playing rugby. But these are children who wouldn't care less about a rugby ball or a proper turf to run out on. It's the passion for the sport that inspires people from all ages. Shane Saroya, National MTV Sports.
The Lower Sogeri off-season rugby league competition has gone into its 7th round. The competition has selected a team to participate in next month's Ipatas Cup in the Southern Region 13s tournament. Erika Rupma with this report.
The Lower Sogeri Rugby League competition saw a total of 20 teams compete for the Iso Aimo Cup since October last year.
The attractive 20 teams, all within Lower Sogeri Valley go na sample to outside to sample neighboring community outside to invite more come na play on them. So now we play start round chain with the competition.
This is the 7th round of the league, which all teams, both senior and junior division, have been playing very competitively to secure a placing in the top ladder. Today's playoffs in the junior division, Kinakon dumped Vanuatu Des 6 points to 0. Swamp Hills forfeited Nari Storms. Depo Brothers crushed Tex Warriors 6 points to 0, and DTEF won by 10 points to 4. In the main game of the competition, Ilimo Bombers eliminate Katia Cowboys 10 points to 0. The man of the match award was given to Cowboys winger Barry Allen, who was made possible by Adventure Park.
Mibla la business house mibla staff close to as a manager of Adventure Park. Mi amas lo helping all youths na la liga o stim yellow la loki mibla. It's all about mibla all encouraging all youth all young people lo play rugby league.
From this competition, a strong side will be selected to represent the league in the Ipatas Cup Southern Region 13th tournament in Port Moresby on February.
Blagat selection lo Pita Iparas Coca-Cola Cup where Mila by representing all this la league Blumblana Bambla Karimgolo Southern Region na Bambla play take part.
The Lower Sogeri Rugby League competition has been a home ground to many rugby greats who participated in both local and international games.
The reps player will be selecting all one club lo let them now coach Manta staff Mr. Michael Marum before I'm been school of PUM. I'm been come play game them at time sumatinit. Now I'm come up coach blow SP Antas them staff. As far as some plan about me clear lem Jagger Kipsi one club me play at Liam been go out and play New South Wales Cup. But I'm no go through in general and play New South Wales Cup go so na. Mas contract them finish them come again. Narpla problem play at Stephen Kale. I'm working name through golo Kumul. One time Godfrey Luke.
Eric Arukma, National EMTV Sports.
And there in Strukai Sports, we'll have further weather details for the next 24 hours after the break.
Strukai Sports. Strukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
Look at the weather for over the next 24 hours in the southern region. Port Moresby, a shower or two. Rain and showers expected in Daru, Kerma, Alotau and Popondetta. To the Momasa region, a shower or two in Ley, Wau and Medang. Showers as well in Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, showers in Buka, a shower or two as well in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabao and Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect some rain and showers over the next 24 hours.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Sunday the 15th of January 2017. From all of us here at EMTV, we have a safe working week. Good night.